Court, the court ruled against the tech giant in an antitrust case. Wrestler Vinesh Fogart scripts history by defeating world number 1 Japanese wrestler Yui Susaki in the round of 16 in the women's freestyle 50 kg category. She now moves to the quarterfinals in the Olympics. Good evening and welcome. You are watching Profit 360 on NDTV Profit. I'm Nupur Talwar Suri. Over the next half hour, we bring you what's happened in the markets as well as other news. We begin, however, with what's happened in the markets today. Well, the markets took the cue from their Asian peers and opened strongly in the green, but they were reversed in late trade. NDTV Profit's Neeraj Shah brings us the wrap of all the market action.
Not quite the recovery that bulls may have been hoping for, because the market paired gains for the bit. From the levels that we started off with, this is a bit of a disappointment what's happened in the Nifty. And the Bank Nifty, likely the principal culprit, down about 0.7% for the Bank Nifty. So the intraday of the indices looked a bit sluggish or weak. Now, if you look at the heat map for the Nifty 50, it won't look all that bad, because you will see 2 rows of green. But it was a lot more green when we started off, just about 4 stocks in the red. Compared to that, look at what happened to some of the life insurance names and financial names in the session today. Autos like M&M continued to sulk in trade, and a mixed set of companies really battling it out or bucking the trend, if you will. Britannia, but there is also JSW Steel, a Tech Mahindra, Larsen & Toubro. So a bit of technology, a bit of FMCG with a steel name thrown in, Adani Enterprises thrown in there. All over the place, really. The broader end of the spectrum too, the small cap index, which was up 2% at a point of time, really came off very, very rapidly, along with the mid cap index as well. And the BSE 500 losers and gainers list shows you that while there were gainers, and there were a lot of them, the list of losers was very liquid and fairly long as well. The gainers, Symphony along with Blue Star, gave out a good set of numbers. Symphony reacted, Blue Star did not. Down about 5% despite good margins, maybe slightly lower than estimated. Some strength for a First Source Solutions, some strength for a KPR Mills, which was symptomatic of what was happening to the textile companies today. All textile companies, KPR, Gokaldas, Arvind, all of them were up in trade, because presuming that what potentially could be Bangladesh's loss, if indeed Bangladesh losing out on some textile sourcing, could be India's gains. I think too soon to say that. A lot of defense names came under pressure today. Cochin's Shipyard out here showing that, like I said, Blue Star, a results reaction. Adani Wilmar came off, EIH came off. So the list of losers was long too. Just that we didn't have the kind of carnage that we had in trade on Monday, but which is probably a welcome move. Let's see what the rest of the week has in store.
And Nilesh Shah of Kotak Mahindra AMC says that foreign institutional investors and domestic institutional investors were playing real-life Lagan. Here's his take.
If we look at India position, my feeling is that investors will look to buy into correction. Let's look at from a foreigner's point of view. The foreigners are today either equal weight India or marginal underweight India. There is a reasonably good chance that India's weightage in MSCI Emerging Market Index will go up. This will make many foreigners underinvested in India. Can they afford to remain underinvested in a growth market like India? Answer is undoubtedly no. So they will be using correction as an opportunity to invest. In every single IPO coming out of India, OFS coming out of India, we are seeing foreigners looking to buy and compete with mutual funds aggressively. Now let's look at domestic investors, insurance, mutual funds, pension funds. We all will be a buyer of India growth story. Let's look at retail and HNI. People who are expressing bearishness in the market are ultimately looking to buy at correction. So overall, my feeling is that corrections will be bought into. This time, investors have also become matured. This is real-life Lagan movie being playing out. As you know, in Lagan movie, local team defeated foreigners. In COVID time, we saw one day international being played out, where foreigners were selling for March, April, May, June, July 2020. They sold close to 70 to 80,000 crore cash equity. Retailers via mutual fund kept on buying. Then foreigners realized that lagan mein jeetna mushkil hai. So they started playing test match. From October 21 to June 22, they sold 250,000 crore worth of equity. Retailers kept on buying slowly and steadily. Finally, foreigners realized that retailers are going to win test match also. So they gave up on test match format, came into T20 format. On the election result, they played like T20, sold about 21,000 crore in cash and about 8,000 crore in futures. Retailers bought that into. So my feeling is that there is a real life lagan being played between domestic investors and global investors, and everyone will be looking to buy into correction. Now, someone may buy a 10% correction, someone may buy a 20% correction, but every correction will be bought into by local and global investors.
And here's another interesting take on the free fall in the US markets. The reason behind bad employment data in the US for June was likely due to weather, says Edward Yardini, the president of Yardini Research.
Part of the reasons for the sell-off on Friday was the weaker than expected employment report for July. However, we had a really close look at it and concluded that it might have been the weather. I know that the Bureau of Labor Statistics said that Hurricane Beryl, which hit Texas in early July, didn't have an impact, but still there was plenty of evidence that the weather was bad enough around the country that it might actually have depressed the data. And today's, as you mentioned, today's data on the non-manufacturing purchasing managers look pretty good. So all in all, I think the economy is still pretty resilient. I think we'll get over this latest recession scare. You know, we've had this recession fear for the past 2 years. It's the no-show recession. It's the most widely anticipated recession that hasn't appeared. And there's still concerns that it might at some point, but I don't think it will.
And back home, the Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman is expected to propose the FY25 finance bill in the Lok Sabha. Both the houses must approve the bill for it to become the law and for implementing the budget proposals. The Ola Electric IPO, first by an Indian automaker, was subscribed 4.25 times as of 4 this evening on the final day of the sale. While the retail response has been muted, the qualified institutional buyers have stepped up to get the IPO subscribed more than 3 times on its final day. And baby products maker First Cry's parent company Brainbe Solutions has hit the Indian markets today. The public issue will remain open till the 8th of August. The IPO price band has been fixed at 440 to 465 rupees per equity share. Brainbe Solutions aims to raise more than 4,000 crore rupees from the IPO. Out of the total amount, more than 1,600 crore rupees is aimed to be raised through the issuance of fresh shares. Now, the IPO was subscribed 9% at 4 this evening. And India's Monetary Policy Committee meeting is underway, with the committee set to announce its decision on Thursday. This is the first meeting after the final union budget and the Fed signalling chances of a rate cut in September. It's also the current MPC's last meet before its term ends, and new members are appointed during the tenure of the current MPC. The 4% target has eluded the committee, but for justifiable reasons such as the ongoing volatility caused by vegetable prices currently. Now, all economists polled by Bloomberg expect the MPC to maintain status quo. The benchmark lending rate, or the repo rate, is likely to be unchanged at 6.5%. And moving on, Zepto is considering moving its headquarters to Bengaluru from Mumbai. The potential reason behind this is to unite its tech teams with other key operational teams currently present across the 2 cities. Rishabh Bhatnagar has more.
Right, so Zepto is considering moving to Bengaluru, the tech capital of India, from Mumbai. Now, this is due to a couple of issues. One is the leasing issues in their current property, which is WeWork in Powai. There are some leasing issues with that. And also, the company has sort of outgrown that space. The location isn't that great. And that is what is prompting this move to Bengaluru. Another major incentive, of course, is that about half its team is already present in Bengaluru, including the entire tech team. Co-founder Kavalya Vora is also present there, apart from the chief financial officer as well. While Mumbai does have a lot of other key operational teams, with CEO Adit Palicha also being present in Mumbai. So most probably we will see Zepto moving to Bengaluru. This will also put it in close proximity to rivals like Flipkart and Swiggy, who sort of dominate this Q-commerce and e-commerce space. So an interesting move on the cards for Zepto.
All right, thank you for that, Rishabh. Now, Google has been handed a legal blow. Amit Mehta, an Indian-origin US judge, has ruled that the tech giant has violated the antitrust law and that it used exclusive agreements to make itself the default search engine on devices. The trial also revealed that Google has paid billions to Apple to remain the default ad provider and search engine in its devices. The ruling said that these agreements have provided Google with an unfair advantage over its competitors and created an illegal search monopoly. This has paved the way for a second trial to determine possible remedies for the antitrust breach, which has left the market to speculate, affecting stocks of both Alphabet and Apple. Well, when we scroll through social media, we come across so many tips and tricks to save money, but do they actually work? Today in our special personal finance segment, Adulting 101, we break down a few of those popular hacks so you can start your savings journey.
Imagine you've been eyeing the latest gadget in the market, but you hesitate because of a money-saving tip you saw online. It's a popular trick and everyone seems to be talking about it. But are these hacks just fleeting trends, or do they actually work? Spoiler alert, it depends. Everyone's got something different that works for them, but here are 4 that could be worth experimenting with. Hack number 1 is following the 30-day rule. This hack suggests waiting 30 days before making a big purchase. The idea is that if you still really want the item after a month, it's a genuine need rather than an impulse buy. Hack number 2 is meal prepping. This can save you money and help you eat healthier, but the time investment might not pay off if you have a busy schedule or don't enjoy cooking. Hack number 3 is using loyalty programs, cashback offers, and reward points from various apps and stores. Now, these rewards can add up over time, but managing multiple programs can be a hassle, and the savings might not be as significant as expected. Hack number 4 is envelope budgeting. Withdraw cash for different spending categories and place it into labeled envelopes. Now, this traditional approach helps control spending, but using cash for everything might not be practical in today's digital world. But every coin has a flip side. Not all hacks preached on social media work, like constantly switching credit cards for better rewards. This can actually hurt your credit score and lead to missed payments. And overly strict budgets are simply not realistic. It can be tough to maintain and might lead to overspending. At the end of the day, every person's budgeting plan is different, but experimenting with these hacks could be a great way to start your savings journey.
Well, it's time for a short break, but on the other side, we bring you the latest on the situation in Bangladesh, along with an NDTV exclusive interview with Muhammad Yunus. Welcome back. Now, a day after the former Bangladesh Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina resigned and fled to India, External Affairs Minister S. Jaishankar told Parliament that the government is in touch with the authorities in Dhaka and is monitoring the situation regarding minorities in Bangladesh. Making a statement in the Rajya Sabha, Jaishankar said that Hasina sought approval to come to India at a very short notice.
On 5th August, demonstrators converged in Dhaka despite the curfew. Our understanding is that after a meeting with leaders of the security establishment, Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina apparently made the decision to resign. At very short notice, she requested approval to come for the moment to India. We simultaneously received a request for flight clearance from Bangladesh authorities. She arrived yesterday evening in Delhi. The situation in Bangladesh, sir, is still evolving. The Army Chief, General Waqar-uz-Zaman, addressed the nation on 5th August. He spoke about assuming responsibility and constituting an interim government. We are in close and continuous touch with the Indian community in Bangladesh through our diplomatic missions. There are an estimated 19,000 Indian nationals there, of which about 9,000 are students. The bulk of the students, however, have already returned to India in the month of July on the advice of the High Commission. In terms of our diplomatic presence, in addition to the High Commission in Dhaka, we have Assistant High Commissions in Chittagong, Rajshahi, Khulna and Sylhet. It is our expectation that the host government will provide the required security protection for these establishments. We look forward to their normal functioning once the situation stabilizes.
Well, unrest in Bangladesh continues as protesters have called for the Nobel laureate Muhammad Yunus to lead an interim government. Now, this comes after the resignation and departure of the Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina to India yesterday. In response to the escalating violence, the Ministry of External Affairs has issued a strong advisory urging Indian nationals to avoid travel to Bangladesh until further notice. This advisory comes amid fresh protests, causing significant casualties and widespread unrest. We are now joined by Muhammad Ibrahim Mojid of the Dhaka Tribune from Dhaka to get us a ground report. Hi, Ibrahim. Give us a sense of what's happening currently on the ground.
So, latest that interim government hasn't sworn in right now. Dr. Muhammad Yunus, a Nobel laureate, the students of the quota movement, they proposed his name as the leader of the interim government. And as far as I know, Yunus agreed to it. However, we do not want an interim government. The students and the people of Bangladesh do not want an interim government. They want a democratically elected government right now, as Awami League is almost inexistent in Bangladesh right now. There is a very big power vacuum. Awami League was one of the oldest party of the country. Now it remains a question that who will come to power, and students are demanding for a free and fair election.
All right, now Nobel laureate and Grameen Bank founder Muhammad Yunus told NDTV Profit in an exclusive interview that the situation in Bangladesh today is similar to when the country got freedom from Pakistan in 1971.
Well, of course, that's a very important issue, law and order. That's where it all began. They completely collapsed. And that's led to the demand for resignation of the government, resignation of the prime minister, and it has finally led to that resignation. Today, there's a celebration of the kind that we had on 16 December 1971, when we freed ourselves from Pakistanis. And now we got rid of a very totalitarian government. So there's a lot of celebration all over the country, not just not the Dhaka city, millions of people out in the street enjoying their freedom, that finally we get free from all those difficulties that we have got through. So that's we're enjoying it, and we see that a new era is beginning in Bangladesh. Finally got rid of the people who have been torturing them, creating problems for them, and corruptions and everything all over the country. So now,
Yunus, is it not your worry, sir? Is it not your worry that there would be more instability going forward? One of the points mentioned...
Hopefully, the instability can be packed into a box and keep it there. That's what Hasina was trying to do. Or instability to come out to create a stability, because ultimate goal, ultimate cure, ultimate medicine of stability is to bring democracy. That was completely denied in Bangladesh.
All right, now moving on to the riots that were reported in London. The Indian government has warned its citizens against travelling to the United Kingdom due to safety concerns. Authorities have urged travellers to remain vigilant, stay updated with local news and avoid protest zones for their own safety. Britain has been gripped by violence following a knife attack that killed 3 young girls at an event in Southport. The attack has led to widespread unrest and sparked anti-immigrant riots in towns and cities such as London and Manchester. Authorities are struggling to control the situation. And Vinesh Fogart and Neeraj Chopra have made it to the headlines in the Paris Olympics. While Vinesh Fogart qualified for the next round of the women's freestyle 50 kg category, Neeraj Chopra has entered the men's javelin throw final. Aditya Rao joins us to give us more details on this victory. So Aditya, obviously this is something that will bring cheer to all Indian fans.
Yes, of course. And right now we are getting a news that Vinesh Fogart has qualified for semi-finals in the 50 kg category of wrestling, women's wrestling. Some time back we had got the news that Vinesh Fogart had qualified for the quarterfinals, and in last few minutes she had also qualified for the semi-finals, which is a great news. And to reach the quarterfinals, Vinesh Fogart defeated Yui Sasaki of Japan by 3-2. And Vinesh Fogart in that bout was actually losing the bout till the last few seconds, and in last few seconds she turned around the game by technical superiority. She won that bout in last few seconds, and in the run to semi-finals she has defeated the Ukrainian wrestler to reach the semi-finals. And also we would like to tell you that the golden boy of India, Neeraj Chopra, has once again made it to the finals with a throw of 89.34 meters. And now all eyes will be on Neeraj Chopra in the finals, that if he can touch that magical number of that magical mark of 90 meters in the Olympic finals, and can he retain that gold which he had brought to India in the last Olympics. So all Indians would be rooting for Vinesh Fogart and Neeraj Chopra in the run for their medals in final and the semi-finals. And we hope that Vinesh Fogart also reaches the finals.
All right, Aditya. Obviously, we're keeping our fingers crossed for that one. Thank you very much for joining us. And on that note, it's goodbye from us here on Profit 360, but stay with us as we bring you more.